Spirituality is an easy word, but it's a tough calling. The Bible says in Galatians 5, verses number 1, it says, "Stand fast, therefore, in the liberty, wherewith Christ hath made us free." Then he encourages us, "Be not entangled again with the yoke of bondage." Then the Bible says in Galatians 6:1, it says, "Brothers, if any man be overtaken in a fault," there's the word, "ye which are spiritual." That isn't an elder. That isn't a deacon. That isn't a preacher. That's one who is spiritual. The Bible lets us know one who is spiritual makes no provisions for the flesh. Let me say that again. The Bible lets us know the one who is spiritual, he makes no provisions for the flesh. Let me say that one more time. The Bible said the one who is spiritual, he makes no provisions for the flesh. To be spiritual minded is a deep subject. It's easy to say it, but to be spiritual minded, it is tough. Notice what the Bible says in Romans chapter number 8. In Romans chapter number 8, the Bible says in verse number 5, "For they that are after the flesh," guess what the Bible says? "They mind the things of the flesh." It's just that simple. "But they that are after the Spirit, the things of the what? Spirit." Then the Bible says, "For to be worldly minded is death." And you were to ask the average church member, are they spiritual? They're going to say yes. But what do they act say? The Bible says to be carnal minded is death, but to be spiritual minded is life and peace, because the carnal mind, the worldly mind, is hostility against God. Then it says, this type of mindset, this carnality, this worldliness, is not subject to the law of God, and the Bible says, neither indeed can be. Then here's the verse. "So then they that are in the flesh," it is just that simple, "cannot please God." It's just that simple. Then the Bible says in verse number 12, "Therefore, brothers, we are debtors not to the flesh." We don't owe the flesh nothing to live after the flesh. We don't owe the flesh nothing. "For if we live after the flesh, you should die." He just said that. "But if you live through the Spirit and do mortify the deeds of the body, you shall live." Read that again, David. "But if you live through the Spirit," if you live spiritually, "and you kill the acts of the body, you shall live. But if you live after the world, the flesh, all those pursuits are going to get you there. But if you live through the Spirit, and you do verb, action, show action, kill, mortify the deeds, the acts of the body, you should live." In other words, the heart has to be spiritual and for the body to act right. Now, how you deal with that when you're dealing with children? Look at Proverbs chapter number 30. The Bible says in Proverbs chapter number 30, God has given us an ingredient. He's given us something to help us to be spiritual. He knows the flesh, the carnality. He knows the world is tough. He knows the allurements from the world grab us. So God says, here's what I'm going to do. When they make an iPhone, I'm going to make a better iPhone. God says, here's what I'm going to do. When they make a nice car that allure you, I'm going to make a better car. No, God is not going tit for tat like that. God says, what I'm going to do, I tell you what, when your neighbor who's here to get a house and you like it, I'm going to give you a big house. Some people think that way. God is not that smart. The Bible says in Proverbs chapter number 30 and verse number 5, talking to spiritual people. And spiritual people go like, there it is. Because other people be looking for something else. Every word of God, what does it say? So the Bible says, unto the pure, all things are what? Pure. What do we crave for? What do we like? Purity. How do we get it? Here it is. The mind of God. The word of God. Every word of God is pure. He is a shield to them that put their what? Trust in him. David, don't add nothing to this word. In other words, my brain is enough, God says. Drop down to verse number 11. I'm talking to spiritual people tonight. I am encouraging the spiritual people tonight. But let me tell you something. Just because you're spiritual, it don't mean that people will not challenge you to go back to that carnality. Just because you're spiritual, come to church tonight on Mother's Day at 2 o'clock, it doesn't mean you're going to go home and there's some people that may come over your house later or may call you and insult you and talk about you. Whatever the case is, they're challenging your spirituality. They want to take their carnality and say, I got a big house, I got a better car, I got a better watch, and they want you to go back and forth with them. You don't see it that way, but that's exactly the way it is. You pure, unadulterated word of God to spiritual people. We see different, we act different, we talk different, we dress different. Everything about us is different. Our heart, our mindset, our motives are pure. But yet, the Bible says, here we go. That sounds good in the book today. But watch what verse number 11 says. There is a generation that curseth their father and does not bless who? In other words, they are some monsters of ingratitude. Who will look at you as a mother, stay with me, as a spiritual daddy, and they'll curse you out. And that world, if it's in you, step back, David, on the pulpit. Our very own children. Maybe not in the verbiage where they curse you out, but they'll say so much arrogant and so many silly and unthought process words say to you, and if you're not careful, you'll make a provision for the flesh, and you will tell them off. And you will say it before you know it, and if you're not careful, you'll feel good about saying it. Let me say it again. There's a generation that curses the father and does not bless the mother. I'm sorry that's in the Bible, but that's true. I better keep on going because you look at me like I don't want to, Dave, we don't want to hear that. Let me say it again. 12 says there is a generation, watch this, that are pure and they're what? Wait a minute now, every word of God is pure and they saying they pure. There is a generation that are pure, they're arrogant in their own eyes and yet is not washed, the Bible says, from their filthiness. You'll be talking with people who are unspiritual and you'll start feeling not spiritual. You've been trying to be spiritual and their deeds and their flesh, their carnality is overwhelming you, and before you know it, you sound just like them. And they'll look at you as soon as you make one mistake and say one word backwards, they'll say, see, you ain't no Christian, why are you cursing me? There's a generation that'll bring you out of whatever you think that's in you. There's a generation that are pure in their own eyes. And the Bible says, yet it's not washed from their filthiness. They ain't done nothing. They ain't tried to practice nothing the Bible says. And they'll tell you. Then 13 says, there's a generation. Oh, how lofty are their eyes. And their eyelids are lifted up. They just as prideful and arrogant. You ever see people who you helped out? Who you encourage? They get on their feet and they tell you off what they've been wanting to tell you all their life. Just a generation like that. And if you're not careful, you'll get caught right in the middle. The Bible says there's a generation 14 whose teeth are as swords. They know how to say it. They know when to say it. And their jaw teeth as knives. They know how to cut with their mouth. To devour the poor from off the earth and the needy from among men. That's what we are. I love 15. 15 says there's a leech. A horse leech. But this particular leech got 2 dogs. And guess what they crying saying? No, give me your money. They saying, give, 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 give. There are 3 things that are never satisfied. Yea, 4 things say night it is. The grave, the barren womb, the earth that is not filled with water, and the fire that said not, it is enough. The eye that mocketh at his fall, and despises to obey his mother, the ravens of the valley shall pick it out, and the young eagles shall eat it. Brothers and sisters, we are living in a time to where we are around a generation of people who have no regard for God. And we're trying to be spiritual in an unspiritual world. And the Bible is telling us, David, you make no provisions for the flesh. David, you have left that carnality. David, you are in Christ. There's no condemnation. You what you're supposed to be. Walk spiritually. And the Lord knows a bunch of heathens around. But he's requiring for us to walk spiritually. Go back to Romans 8 again. Go back to Romans 8. I'm sorry, before you go to Romans 8, go back to Romans chapter number 12. And watch Romans 12:9. Let love be without disguise, David, because you're spiritual. Let love be without dissimulation. Honor that which is evil. Hate that which is what? Evil. Cleave to that which is what? Good. Be kindly, affectionate, one to another. How? With brotherly love and honor. What does the Bible say? Prefer one another. That's us. The Bible is encouraging us to prefer one another. Why? Because we're spiritual people. If anybody ought to get along, they ought to be us. The Bible says, not slow in business, fervent in spirit, serving the Lord, rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, continuing instant in prayer, distributing to the necessity of the saints. We ought to be so busy doing spiritual things that certain things don't even bother us. 21 says it best. Be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good. Let's close out with Romans chapter number 8. And notice what the Bible says. In Romans chapter number 8, the Bible says again in verse number 12, therefore, brethren, we are debtors not to the flesh. We owe the flesh nothing to live after the flesh. But if you live after the flesh, you should die. But through the Spirit, you do kill the deeds, the acts of the body, you shall live. In other words, you got to do spiritual things to keep you away from fleshly things. For as many as are led by the Spirit of God, they are declared, they are the sons of God. For you have not received the spirit of bondage again to fear, but you have received the spirit of adoption. God, what did you do for us? I brought you into the family. This is the family of God. We belong to Him. We're spiritual people. But if we bring the attitude in from the world and bite and devour one another, why are we here? When we know there's a generation of cursing mother, father, and mother. When we know there's a generation whose teeth, whose jaws will rip us up. But we getting ripped up in Him. How defeating is that to try to be spiritual and stay up here? If we're going to bite and devour each other here, we might as well go out there. At least they ain't for real out there. But we're supposed to be trying to be up here and be spiritual. He says again, he says in verses number 16, the Spirit itself bear witness with our spirit that we are the children of God. You know that thing match? What this book say, it match? What this book said, when you read this book, it lines up with my heart. Don't get scared now. When I see this book, when people open their book, they see me. Don't get scared now. When people hear me talk, they hear this book. We're spiritual people. That generation that's cutting people with their teeth and their jaws, that's not us. The generation that come back like leeches and say, give, all for self, that's not us. Watch what the Bible says again. And if children then heirs, the heirs of God, joint heirs with Christ, if so be that we suffer. That's what spiritual people do spiritually. They suffer. With him, that we may also be glorified. He says, for I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. It is a tough world. Our girls are taught to be godly, to be chaste, to be holy, to be totally different from the world. They are taught, they are encouraged, they are prayed for, and we set them up to be spiritual. We encourage them, we allow them to participate, we make sure they read, we get them ready to drop their standards and marry something less when we allow them to marry heathens. We got spiritual girls and non-spiritual boys. That's a problem. We talk to our girls one way and we play with our boys another way. That's a problem. And it's going to come back and bite us. And when it comes down to that age that's appropriate for them to get married, there is no one to even look at. And yet there's a time coming to which our girls, some of our boys, they're going to have nothing to choose from. But yet we open up a book that's been telling us for years, for centuries, spiritual. But being spiritual in 2020, they don't get you no husband. Being carnal, get you a man. Being carnal, wicked, evil, being where you curse out your parents, it gets your attention. Look at the school system. In any school, the knucklehead get more attention than the straight A students. Amen. Now follow it to the house. Now bring it to the church. Preach, brother. I know it's Sunday evening, brother, but if you're ready to go. But spirituality, you think about it. Spirituality, you'll get your reward in heaven. Yes. But on this side of life, you get with a whole lot of people that's fleshly. And they so arrogant. That's exactly what Proverbs is saying. They arrogant. They think they pure in their own heart, and yet they are filthy. Then you're told to be spiritual. And God is saying, I got you. God is saying, I'm going to take care of you. I'm never going to leave you. And it seems as though nothing is happening. By then, I'm 102. But when he called me home, the Bible says in verse number 18, for I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. Stay spiritual. Look at 18 again. For I reckon, I suppose, I'm thinking that what you're going through right now, being by yourself, trying to be spiritual, trying to be holy, trying to be set apart, not dealing with the heathens, not giving an inch. I got to sit by myself. I'm going to sit with my Lord. He says, for I reckon the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared in comparison with what's coming with the glory, which shall be revealed in us, for the earnest expectation of the creature waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God. Let me tell you something, brothers and sisters. The groanings of whatever we experiencing, we have desires. We have things we like to do, but we who are spiritual, we can do them things wholesome in a spiritual way. But if you keep allowing the world to overwhelm you, and you're thinking that you're not having any fun, you're going to lose your spirituality. You're going to get in the race. You're going to get back into that sermon Brother Holly preached many years ago. You're going to go back and forth, sin and repent, sin and repent, sin. You're going to ride that horse until he calls you home. Get on that track of being spiritual and stay right there. It is tough. It is hard. It is demanding. It is momentous to sit there and keep yourself in subjection. Season your words. It is at a point to where you are perfecting things, you're growing, you're doing things, and then you look over at your counterpart, you look at your peers, you look at your friends, you look at your co-workers, it seems like everybody is just full of carnality. And you sin spiritually by yourself. And sometimes you feel dejected, and you find yourself depressed, and before you know it, that devil working on your heart. He's trying to get your eye off what God got prepared for you. Yes. He's trying to get your focus away from what God is trying to get you to go. You better stay spiritual. You better stay spiritual. Stay spiritual. 21 says, because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption unto the glorious liberty of the children of who? God. The children of God. Verse number 24 says, for we are saved by hope, for hope that is seen is not hope. For what a man said, why did he yet hope for? Everything that you see, there's a day coming that God got prepared for you. Things you haven't seen. And it's going to blow your mind. Spirituality. That's an attitude of, I want to. Spirituality. That's a mind that says, I'm determined, I'm driven. I am going to do all I can by the mercies of God to present David a living sacrifice in an ungodly society. I'm going to do all I can to present David holy and acceptable to God. That's a mindset to which I got to just focus in, hone in, knowing that the accolades are going to come later and not now. Knowing that if I hold on to God's unchanging hand, I got something that's sure, that's not going to fade away. I got something that's substance, that's real. But yet in this world, if you get caught up into the glorification of this world, and to their mindset what sanctification is all about, you'll find yourself an average Christian that do what everybody else do. And you'll feel pretty comfortable being around average people doing average things. But God is calling us to a whole other call, to be spiritual. And sometimes when you around people who are not spiritual, they'll tell you, you know what, you take it too seriously. The God whom we serve, you'll put him in a box or straitjacket. He's not that strict. God ain't that hard, girl. Calm down. Boy, chill out, man. Come on, man. Ain't nothing. Drink one. Come on, go out with me. What? Man, it's just 9, 10 o'clock. You grown. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Enjoy yourself. They want you to drop your spirituality. They want you to be carnal just like this. It happens when you go to school. People used to say it happens when you go to college. No. It happens now.
Yes, it does.
It used to be, here we go. School out in less than 2 weeks. Here we go. Here we go. People want you to drop your God. Yes. There is a community to which I wouldn't mind living in. There's a community to which I have said to Bunny, I want to live right there. I want to sell everything and live right here because it's like where old folks go. And I tell Bunny, we old now. Let's go to this place. You do research on it. The place costs so much money. They cooking food for you. You go on these trips. They do. It's just awesome. And somehow entertainment, everything. They going to wine and cheese parties. They going to the casinos. Even when you get older, that wicked one is still after your spirituality. Amen. You better be spiritual. You better think about what Paul says. Well, I reckon. Paul says, listen, I reckon that what we're going through, the stuff we're going through, are not to be compared. Don't make the comparison for this temporary fun. And let people rob you of your spirituality. People tell you, you know what, you're too straight-laced. It just seems like you're just too holy for God. You just keep being holy. You keep doing all you can. Think about it. You got to stand and sing a song.